MarcelloMania, episode 6. We're back. Shorter episode this time, but I brought on my guy, Anthony DiCarlo. It was good timing coming off the heels of the Ryder Cup. We talked some Ryder Cup golf, the dominant victory by the U.S. Also had to get into the NFL, just in general, what we're looking at for 3 weeks. Specifically talked a little bit about the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens game because he's a Lions fan, and Justin Tucker with the record. And we're going to debut a new segment, Minute with Marcello. So we'll mix that in. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Been a little while, but episode 6, MarcelloMania, bringing on another fellow Italian. Anthony DiCarlo is my guy. We used to work together at Wofford, and he's a huge golf fan and a Lions fan, so we'll get to that later. But Anthony, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Golf was great this weekend. Lions, not so much. As usual, as everyone can imagine. But yeah, like you said, I can wait to talk about that.
Yeah, and the big thing that is on everyone's mind right now, at least this is Monday right now when we're recording. I'll put it out in the next couple of days, but coming off the heels of the Ryder Cup, just really an awesome scene in Whistling Straits, to protect, I guess, home course, if you want to call it that, in golf. And we won in 2016, then we lost in Europe in 2018. So to kind of have back-to-backs and on our homeland is pretty cool. But how much of it did you get to catch? Because I know you're in athletics too, so you're working a lot on the weekends. But I know golf is like that. That's what you're watching or playing when you're not working.
Yeah. So I saw the back end of Saturday. Caught that live, and then Sunday I had that double screen with NFL all day, as I'm sure you probably did too.
Yeah.
But Whistling Straits was just on the other side of Lake Michigan, over in Wisconsin, and what a beautiful course to start. I mean, just a beautiful atmosphere that they set up over there. And the golf couldn't have been any better too. I thought, Saturday when I turned it on, I see John Rahm make this 35-foot putt and just absolutely freak out like it's Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like getting chills just to see it, just to feel it. And then Sunday, obviously, that was the day the United States took over. Bryson, I think won the hearts and souls of America, as some people have said. And, it was just a great thing for golf fans in America. And I think, obviously to see them celebrate and to see, they say this is the most loaded Ryder Cup team in recent years, maybe ever. So to see them finally win and pull it off was huge and awesome for country.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. And, that's one of the things I've been kind of hearing more and more about, that just a really young squad. Now, all of a sudden, the roles are kind of reversed, whereas Europe seemed to have the edge. And now Europe's probably, the rest of the world, like, okay, like, how are we going to get back on top? It's, obviously next time they play, it could be a completely different story, but definitely a much younger squad, which is cool to see some fresh faces. I mean, you saw fans like throwing beers out there. I think some of that young edge, that young vibe is kind of crossing over, and you hit on it. I don't know that anyone's like a Bryson fan, but I think you come away after this weekend, you're like, all right, like maybe he's not as bad as I thought.
Well, the thing about Bryson too, and I'm just going to say it this way: I'm not a Bryson fan. I wasn't a Bryson fan. I think being a camera guy and a video guy, and the way he, treats us, getting in his face when you make a bad shot, But regardless, him and Brooksy's thing, I think, was this big media. It was just drew a lot of attention, and so to see them come together was great. But like you said, man, the youth of the team, you got guys like Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele. When Jordan Spieth isn't the young guy anymore on the team, that's when that things are changing, but I think in a good way. And with Coach Stricker and Phil out there, I think Tiger was a big inspiration for this weekend too, because all of these guys are great friends with Tiger. Tiger just keeps in contact, and a simple text from Tiger Woods can mean so much.
Yeah,
and it can just drive you to flip that switch. And I think that's what these guys did. They were able to dominate on Sunday. Bryson, once he hit that drive onto the green on hole number 1, and then sunk the eagle putt, it was just, from there, it was theirs to lose. And it was great to watch.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I didn't catch much of the first day, caught a little bit on Saturday, just with, moving around and stuff like that. But you saw, going into Sunday, US was in a really, really good position. So it's kind of like, just don't mess up early. And then it was such a different feeling because they had such a big lead. It was more just like, all right, I'm going to watch and like almost a celebration of golf. Like, Colin Morikawa is like nearly holding out off the tee. I think it was maybe 17, his approach. And just, it was so much fun. It was such a different vibe. Like everyone in the crowd knew they had it. Like, so then I'm like, man, what's more fun? Like when you know it's over with, or if it's down to the wire and you get a big victory. I think in this case, since the US hadn't had the best of history over the years, recently at least, I know they won in 2016. I think this time getting a convincing win was big for them. And we got to mention Dustin Johnson. You touched on him. He was the first player since 1979 to win all 5. So DJ's, he's such a good golfer, but he's funny. Like I think of it in terms of the majors. He seems pretty streaky. Like he'll go on a tear and be like in the top 3, like 2 or 3 in a row. And then, maybe he'll only be in the mix for like one of the majors the next year. But what about, how much of his performance did you catch?
So I didn't see much of Dusty, but I think, for what you said, him going 5-0. And I think what is interesting too is the format leading up to Sunday, is the way they golf and the kinds of golf they play, where they do alternate shot and they do match play, stroke play, and they do different types of golf that we're not used to as conventional Sunday golfers. We go out and we just count our strokes and we think, 92 is not bad. And so to see the different types of golf that they play, and then leading up to Sunday, knowing it's one-on-one match play, it's just you versus the other guy. And you don't really feel that when you're golfing for competitive money and for, the championship. So to see that type of fuel, and, like you said, having a guy like Dusty, who is 5-0, who's seasoned, who came off of a PGA almost record year a couple of years ago, and is just almost still on the top of his game, and he's in his mid-30s, almost 40. So having that type of leadership and that mentality, and on top of it, his presence is so calming. The way he almost just doesn't give a rat's ass about anything is almost like, we're all just out here doing what we love. And so I think DJ just being that vet came in clutch.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And the boys had themselves a little bit of a time afterwards. You could tell they were enjoying themselves a little bit. I mean, it's just crazy though, to win 19-9 like that, one of the largest margins ever. I think maybe the largest since they had this 28-point format. But no, it was just fun. And it's just a different way. I think you kind of said it, just to look at golf, because we're not used to team golf. And so it's funny to see all these guys that are usually, a lot of them are friendly and they're friends off the course, but like to see them kind of be on a team, golf's an individual sport. So outside of maybe a little bit in college, that's just got to be so kind of almost rejuvenating for them, in a way. And I mean, it's probably why, I'm more of a hack golfer, but it's probably why I like this choice, because it's like, all right, we got a team effort here. Let's go.
Well, as a golf fan too, you have to imagine there's very few events out of the year. You have the Waste Management Open, that's kind of like a party, right? And then you have the Ryder Cup, which is like a party. These fans were out there, no matter where you are. If you're in Europe, you hear the ole, 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 and you hear the United States fans, and to see the guys interact the way they did, kind of chugging beers and screaming when they make putts and pointing, and it just brought a sense of, when you make a birdie putt and you try to keep a straight face, and in reality, it's like you really want to burst out in joy, because this is like, it's great. It's just, that's kind of the feeling you get. And so, man, great job at the Ryder Cup this weekend. Well done over in Whistling Straits and Team USA. Like you said, well deserved that celebration afterwards. The champagne pops. Xander Schauffele smoking his cigar in the press conference.
That was awesome. Yeah. If it was Barstool who said it, but they're calling it the slaughter by the water, which is a pretty awesome term. I don't know who came up with that. I just know Barstool, I think, got some shirts out. So not
a little Joe Burrow-esque by Xander Schauffele. If I
very true. Very true. Hey, that's a good transition, because I was going to shift to NFL a little bit. my team is 1-2. I really don't know what to do, so I need to feel better. So I had to talk to a Lions fan. So that's really why I brought you on. Let's
Yeah.
Sunday, man. That was one of the craziest games. Did you watch the entire game?
Yeah, so me being a football fan, I watch Red Zone and then kind of pop in and out of other games. And so, to watch the Lions, a lot of people that I know are from Detroit. They're major diehard Lions fans, and it's just for me, it's an expected fairy tale that just never has a happy ending. To where any given season you can start off with high hopes, and it's great, and it's like the main characters have all the steam and momentum, and then you get to like week 4 or 5, and you just see them for who they really are. And not to say that last night or yesterday wasn't new coach, rebuild year, yada,
Right.
yada, yada, the same old, same old. But to see that happen in the fashion that it happened in, on that doink off the crossbar, and if you see social media clips, you almost see Lions fans laughing afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's just become a point of comedy to when the
Yeah.
Lions lose in the fourth quarter. It's always the fourth quarter. You can make it 3 quarters as a happy Lions fan, but that fourth quarter, around 3:45, go get some food, because you're not gonna want to see what comes next.
Yeah, dude, I mean, that was just, I mean, you're the Lions fan, so I had to talk to you, but that was one of the most incredible things. Like, Justin Tucker, just goes to show you, these guys bomb these things in, pregame, or sometimes, it's a 54-yarder, and they're like, oh, that would have been good from almost 70. And then so to see him have that kick, and I mean, he's got the strongest leg in the league, I would imagine.
He did it 2 years ago, 3 years ago in 2017.
Yeah.
He did the same thing on Monday night where he
Yeah.
knocked a 60-yarder in, and it's like, this guy is every fantasy football player's, dream/nightmare if you're playing against him, because he can put up 18 points as a kicker.
Dude,
he just
he's
drops
unreal.
60-yarders like it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, in the 66, so he gets the new NFL record. He gets the win, and I just like, he's so good. So he kicks it, and it's right down the middle. I'm like, oh, he's got it. And then and I'm sure like everybody else watching, it hit, and I was like, oh no. And then it bounces in, and then kind of like you could hear it in the announcer's voice. They were like, whoa, like that went in. It just like, that's one of the craziest plays you'll ever see in football, and he gets the record. I'm sorry it came at your team's expense, but now, like, was the feeling any different, or do you feel any different? Because the Lions are 0-3, but I don't know, they've been kind of competitive and scrappy.
Yes, the Lions, for what it's worth, have been showing that they do have some sort of spirit and spunk, but ultimately, I don't think anybody should watch their kneecaps. The Lions aren't going to be eating much as far as kneecaps come. Dan Campbell, it's an experiment. I think the deeper rooted issue for Lions fans that's not recognized is ownership, it's leadership. Everything comes from the top, and the Fords are just a disastrous leaders they make great cars, but man, they cannot support an offensive line or a quarterback for their life, because we had Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Before that, we had Barry Sanders, who retired early. There's just a history of star players wanting out because of something. Now, what that is, I don't know. I don't think that the franchise should leave Detroit, because they have a great fan base here. We don't want the team sold because they're so bad. We just need some sort of lifeline to us. We need some sort of feeling that what we're cheering for actually is paid out, because these Lions fans go to games and they put bags over their heads because they know what's coming. They understand that that's a locker room that's just not made for winning.
It's something like Ted Lasso. There's something in that locker room. They got to go expel all the demons of the whatever it was in Ted Lasso. But you mentioned it though, like you kind of like us. We work in sports, so kind of like everything. Watching the NFL, it's only 3 weeks in, so I don't know what the quarter of a season is now, because it used to be week 4, you're a quarter of the way in. So we'll just talk about some general 3 weeks into the season. It's probably going to be way different, 6-7 games from now. But has there been a team or even like a rookie that's kind of jumped out and surprised you in a sense? And then on the other hand, is there a team that you thought like, this team's gonna be good going in, and maybe they're 1-2 or something like that?
So I'll give you two teams that I think have not surprised me. One surprising is the
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers have come off ultimately super hot, and especially with Christian McCaffrey being the way he is injury wise and health wise right now. Sam Darnold has just slid right in. They got, the receiving core, DJ Moore out of nowhere is like the number one receiver in the NFL right now. And Derrick Henry. I got Derrick Henry week 2 in fantasy football. Dropped 42 points on me, right? The Tennessee Titans. The Titans are just playing strong football. They look like a team that can stop the football from getting in the end zone. And obviously, with guys like Julio Jones, AJ Brown, Corey Davis, they can clearly put points in the end zone and put points on the board. So the Titans and the Panthers, I think, are two that have kind of surprised me. And honestly, Mac Jones and the Patriots, as far as what was expected out of this year with the Patriots and Cam Newton and that whole drama going in and seeing what he's able to do. Obviously, Bill Belichick knew something, and that whole thing with was it a good divorce, bad divorce? Like, Tom has the immediate results. Right. But moving forward, Bill might be good for another 5, 6, 7 years with this guy.
Yeah, Mac Jones really impressed me, and I've said this a couple times. Coming out of, I think you have to take him. They're 14 or 15, wherever they're picking. I think you have to take him when he gets to you like that. But I wasn't just because Alabama's always so loaded. Best offensive line, good running backs. I mean, Najee Harris, up there in Pittsburgh, just tearing it up. The best wide receivers. They had a couple of guys go, maybe even the top 10 this round. They got guys every year, it seems like, in the skill position. So I didn't, think he was bad. I was just like, I don't know, like, is he as good as people are playing him up to be? And then it's preseason, but the way he was, kind of changing plays at the huddle and if he gets sacked, he pops right back up, gets after it, and kind of his press conferences. I really like the future there. It's tough being 1-2 as a team. They're better. They should have won week 1 if they don't fumble, but in week 2 they beat the Jets because Zach Wilson just kept throwing them the ball. So I was like, I don't know, 1-1's probably where they should be. And then
it's tough because with a division like they're in, you have Buffalo in there that's just kind of super dominant right now, and even if there was a chance, and that's what I'm saying, Carolina Panthers could come in, and if they have the record, because Tom lost to LA, so 3-0, 2-1, let's just say they kind of keep up that trend and Tampa loses another game they should win. So if that division kind of opens up and Buffalo maybe loses a couple games that they're supposed to win, maybe, and New England can kind of stay in a hot streak now. Because again, there might not be as many names as you remembered with the Tom Brady era. That's right. The Patriots, but they're still going to rack up 2 wins against the Jets every year. They're still going to rack up, they'll
probably split with the Dolphins. Yeah,
exactly. So
they might get
conference wins.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I think Buffalo is probably going to end up winning the division, but I think they're going to come in second and be in the mix for a wild card, which is better than what they had here. And I think if Cam Newton starts right now, they're probably 1-2. And then my only excuse is, well, we got to see Mac Jones. I think the results are the same early, but I think long-term, Mac's going to be the guy. This weekend's going to be super interesting. Obviously, I want the Patriots to win, but with Tom Brady coming to town off a loss, the Rams were the better team yesterday, but they were, his dad was doing interviews on Thursday about the Tampa New England game. And it almost was like, are you looking by the game this weekend? I will say, I think the Patriots are going to give them a game, kind of like the Chiefs game last year when Hoyer forgot how to play football. They were in it to the end. I think the Patriots are going to give them a game, but I think at the end of the day, Brady and the Bucs are going to get a win, but it's going to be fun to watch that one. What do you think on that?
See, the Bucs are a team where, again, like like LA was definitely the better team. And I think, not to take anything away from Los Angeles, because with Matt Stafford over there now, this is my
Yeah.
problem with Lions fans, is they love to point fingers at the people who touch the ball. And Matt Stafford did it every time. And it's not
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's fault, because clearly he's thriving in Los Angeles. So, they're a great team over there. But I think, for what Tampa is, they're a little shaky. They're a little patchy. They can have a game or two where they're not completely tied together. And so,
Yeah.
home field advantage, I think it's going to be more of a Tom Love fest more than a road game for them. So,
Yeah.
ultimately I'm not taking anything away from the Bucks rolling in there and maybe even putting up 37 points
Yeah.
on the Pats defense.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to obviously want to come away with a win. So that chess match between him and Belichick, that's going to go on for a while. But going back to the question I asked you, the Panthers are, I think, one of the teams I would say, I don't know if they were surprising, but they got a really, really strong defense. McCaffrey's out for a little bit, so that makes you worry. But I think long term they'll kind of be in the mix. I mean, I think they won 6 games last year, but they were like in the end of, they were down to the last possession or two in a lot of those games. So it seems like they got a good foundation. I would say a team that I expected, I didn't really know what to expect, but they're 3-0 is the Denver Broncos. Now, not saying they've played like the toughest of teams, but they've looked good in 3 weeks. So, they're going to have to run into the Chiefs twice. The Chargers and the Raiders look tough. You can't overlook them. So they're in a tough.
Raiders are 3-0 in the division also. And Denver, they came out, they beat Jacksonville,
Yeah.
they beat the G-Men, and they beat the Jets. So like you said, they'll have a test against the Ravens, and then come the Steelers. So again, the Raven and the Steelers not looking too terribly strong. Obviously,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh got whopped by Jamar Chase and the Bengals, and the
Yeah.
LSU connection down there.
Yeah.
But then they'll come to Las Vegas, and we'll have some good games. They'll play the Browns. So they'll definitely get their test too. And I think for what it's worth, the Browns are someone to be a little bit, just keep your eye on them, because yes, they're a little flaky at some points, but they win games. And that 2-headed monster they have in the backfield with Chubb and Kareem Hunt is just really dangerous. And when you're getting pounded up the middle 40 times a game, it's hard. And then Baker does a little PA boot and he'll hit Odell, and that's a wrap.
Yeah. No, they look really strong really early. I mean, they had to squeak one out, I think, against the Texans. And they almost had the Chiefs beat in week 1. But it is crazy. Landry's out for a little bit now. I think they're better with Landry. Like, if you had to pick Landry or Odell for that team, they're better. But now they get Odell back. And then if they ever get both of them and keep the running backs healthy, and they got, Myles Garrett on the defensive line. So they got a lot of pieces there. I think the Steelers, not that I'm upset or anything, but they're probably one of the more disappointing teams. I don't know what Steelers fans' expectations were going into the season. Najee Harris seems to be about the only positive thing, because they signed TJ Watt, but then he gets hurt in game 2. And after looking like world beaters in the first game of the season, they look a completely different team the last 2 years. And I don't know if this is the most surprising team or if they're going to sustain it, but I do like the Bengals, kind of what they've showed early in this season to get a couple wins. So, that's just kind of my early thoughts. Again, it's not week 4. Who knows what a quarter of the season is anymore, but since we're on here talking some football, I figured I'd bring it up.
Another point to bring up, Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence 0 for 3 to start off their newly bedded NFL career together. So that's something to keep in mind, where not everybody can come from college and make it in the NFL. So those guys who can definitely have something to show for it. Because Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, those guys never lost when they were in college. I think Trevor got his first real loss in the NFL. So, they're 0-3. The Colts are 0-3 in the South. So, that's just something to keep an eye on. Where are they the same old Jags? And is this kind of like a cursed franchise like the Lions?
The Lions of the South.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, it's always fun catching up. It was good timing, talking some Ryder Cup. And I didn't know when the Lions thing happened yesterday, I was like, I feel bad for my guy, but I want to get his opinion.
Yeah, some would say it was good timing. Others say it was very expected. I kind of expected something like that. But yeah, man, appreciate everything. Hope you and Casey are well, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, man. We'll do it again. All right, debuting a new segment here on MarcelloMania, Minute with Marcello. Pretty simple. Every episode, just going to give you about a minute or so of my thoughts on a specific topic. And the perfect topic to lead this off is Tom Brady and his return to Foxboro this Sunday night. Sunday night football, it's going to be awesome. Now, I think he's going to get an awesome reception. That's not going out on a limb. There's going to be some fans that boo because it's New England, it's Boston, and fans are passionate and they're mad that he left, whether it's his fault or not. There's a whole nother debate you could talk about that. At the end of the day, that guy got 6 Super Bowls, 3-time MVP, first unanimous MVP, comeback player of the year, offensive player of the year. I mean, just won it all. He's going to have every record that doesn't already have at the end of the day. I mean, he is the GOAT, hands down. Now, for the game itself, obviously, Belichick, I think, knows the strengths and weaknesses of Brady. That's not anything new. But I think the Pats, with their new roster, haven't, they're 1-2, it's unfamiliar position. I think they're going to give them a game. Even though Tampa is a much better team, they're struggling a little bit. I think they overlooked the Rams. Brady and his dad overlooked the Rams as they were talking about this game last week before they even got to LA. So, all that being said, my prediction for the game, Pats are going to give them a tough one at the end of the day. I think the Bucs are going to take it. I think it's going to be 34-23 Tampa Bay. But we tip our cap to the GOAT, Tom Brady.